a homestead, a place that's yours, a place that you rely on you. You can build, you can do, you can grow what you please. No neighbors close by, no big bear breathing down your neck. A place that you can feel secure in yourself with those you love. There is no harm in dreaming. There's no harm in wishing. So I wanted to do something fun. So this is a part of a podcast series that will last, well, as long as I want it to. Because I can. Because together, we can use this series to dream the ultimate homestead dream, where money is no object. We can get the things we need, the things we want. We'll have backups and backups for our backups. Our infrastructure, aces. Now, we won't be apocalyptic prepping, okay? But we won't be suffering in desperation, if the shiz hits the fan. Let's just remember that off-grid means different things to different people. So we're just going to act accordingly. So let's dream the first part of the dream, okay? It's the part of the dream that makes things begin to be possible. The land. You can't have a homestead without land, right? So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the land. So we all know that having to buy things, pay workers, resupply, pay taxes, it's all a thing. It's going to be there. So, like I said, we're talking about total apocalypse here. More long-term preparation for lengthy times of staying out of the societal norms. So, living without being wired in our own infrastructure. And basically living in a way that isn't completely reliant on the outside world. So we're going to go back in time to when a person could feed themselves without someone looking over their shoulder. Go back to a time where things were more self-reliant, but we're going to keep our modern comfort. Because that's what we do when we dream of things. We keep what we want. So let's look at the best states. There's best states for off-grid homesteading. Missouri, Tennessee, and New Mexico. Okay? They offer cheap rural land. They have flexible building rules, if any at all, and good climates for farming and solar energy. Now, I know you're screaming Alaska, and you're absolutely right. However, with the freedom that you get in Alaska, you sacrifice your growing season, your luxurious summer, and we're going to face it right now. If you're not hard as nails, you're not going to make it. I'm just saying. You got to be one tough cookie to get through Alaska. So we're going to look at our 3 top regions and why they fit. So let's take Missouri, the Ozarks. They have mild weather. The water sources are abundant. They're natural. They are crazy with water there. I mean, it's just unending. They have long growing seasons, and they have really relaxed building codes in rural counties. Some of them don't have any codes at all. Okay? So you're building whatever you want. Now, if we look at the second one, Tennessee, a lot of the same things. Long growing seasons, it's great for your food, your livestock, and a lot of the county regulations are designed so that you live with self-reliance. Welcome to the South. Then we have New Mexico. Now, New Mexico offers maximum legal freedom with minimal zoning laws. They have brilliant sunshine, solar power, but you have to be extremely careful in your planning because it is dry desert conditions and water is tops. You have to have it. So when you're looking at your land, or when we are looking at our dreamland here on this podcast, We're going to look at natural springs, creeks, at least shallow water table. And this is going to sound wild, but in some places, harvesting rainwater is illegal. So now in the 3 places that I said, it's not illegal. You can harvest your rainwater. Hi, Herm. Now, you can harvest rainwater in those 3 places, but in some places you can't. So you want to double check and verify that, okay? But harvesting rainwater is it's always something you want to do. I don't care if we're on an unlimited budget. We're doing it. So you want to look at the zoning laws, because a lot of places don't have a zoning law, but you really want to look for those unorganized, rural, unincorporated areas that don't require the permits for your alternative structures. So that's something else that we're going to have in our dream property. Our dream is going to have perfect climate and soil. So we're going to match our location to our goals. Makes sense, right? So we want rich soil. We want abundant rain for our crops. We also want high sun exposure for our off-grid power. So we would explore listing tools that give us those rural property options. Or we would get an agent that specializes in that. I mean, we're unlimited, right? And given that unlimited budget, our primary criteria gets to narrow down and search those premium regions. Places that we don't have to compromise on weather. We don't have to compromise on our growing potential. No compromising on our power generation. No compromising on our dreams. So our ideal destination, at least for me, that would seamlessly balance like a 4-season pleasant climate, solar yields that are exceptional, fertile agricultural conditions, and frankly, total legal freedom. Hi, Dana. Would be the Southern Ozark Mountain region, specifically within the unincorporated code-free pockets of southern Missouri. And believe me, they are there. Okay? So now why would the Southern Ozarks be such a perfect match? I can tell you exactly why. Okay? They have what I call the Goldilocks climate. It's ideal. It doesn't have the extreme, almost sun-blocking winters of the far north. You don't have the overly oppressive, extreme humidity and heat waves of the deep south. You get 4 distinct seasons, all of which are manageable. And that provides a long and highly productive growing season. Around 180 to 200 days. That's huge. You want that. We want that. That's our dream property. We want that. You can have solar reliability. And what I mean by that is southern Missouri experiences about roughly 200 clear sunny days a year. Now combine that with our modern solar efficiency and an unconstrained budget, that would allow us to install a massive tracking solar array with premium lithium iron phosphate battery banks. And we could have the double side panels that if it does snow, when it does snow, Missouri snows, that the gleam from the snow, the shine from it, shines up onto the back side of the panels and actually creates power. Doing this without a budget is absolutely phenomenal. What a wonderful little dream. But it would power, no kidding, you could get enough power to power a luxury estate year round. Okay? An off-grid homestead, you're golden. Also in that area, you're going to have the ultimate in food independence. So, like New Mexico. New Mexico is the arid Southwest. And the solar is abundant beyond compare. But the water is extremely scarce. Now, the Ozarks are going to give you 40 to 45 inches of annual rainfall, which gives you rich valleys and thousands of active freshwater springs. You can easily sustain intensive organic crop fields, high-yield greenhouses. You can have large livestock if you want without relying on some deep well system. You don't have to worry about that. If you wanted large livestock, you definitely could do it. Also, in that region, you're going to get pretty much unparalleled legal freedom. So Missouri's unique. It lacks a mandatory statewide building code. So your rural, unincorporated areas in counties like Texas County, Douglas County, Ozark County, they don't have zoning laws. They don't have building codes outside the city limits. And think about it. I mean, just give it some thought for a minute with your dreaming mind. With an unlimited budget, you could construct a massive earth-sheltered home. You could have specialized agricultural facilities, structural masterpieces, completely free from the bureaucracy. Permits, inspections, square footage limits, none of that. You're not handing over blueprints. You're golden. So to achieve a highly secure, completely self-sufficient homestead, we would want orchards, of course our livestock, be it large or small. We'd want automated greenhouses because homesteading's a lot of work. You want as much automated as you can, right? The Southern Ozarks, it just remains a top choice. It has almost absolute legal freedom. Now, East Tennessee, that does serve as a premier alternative for your mountain security. Okay, so you definitely have alternatives. But if you want premium, you want Ozark, Missouri. With an unlimited budget, you could maximize your layout for defense, food production, automated energy. I would say if it had to pick two of the counties, it'd be Texas County or Ozark County, Missouri. Now, those counties, like I said before, don't have building codes or zoning laws in the unincorporated areas. So you legally could build a reinforced concrete subterranean fortress if you wanted to, with massive automated greenhouses, a high security perimeter fence, without filing a single blueprint with Big Brother. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing to know that there is still somewhere you can do these things. You know, you're still going to be paying taxes. You're still going to be paying Big Brother. So the least they could do is leave you alone, right? So when we look at our dreamland and we have picked our region, we know what we want. We also have to look at the topography. We have to look at the water. Okay, without water, what do we do? So we want to look, it's going to have live springs, creeks, realistic water table. Missouri's known for its heavy rock. It makes digging those private wells kind of difficult in certain Ozark pockets. Like, depends on where you go. But you definitely want that live water. Okay, you already know you're going to dig a well. Having that live water is very important. Another thing you'd want to look at is the sunlight and the slope. So you want some south-facing clearings. You want some south-facing slopes because that is where you want to put your solar array. You want your solar array on a slope. You want it facing south, okay? You can get the ones that track the sun, that's all well and good. But when the winter comes, as it always does, with those panels facing south, you get maximum energy, and you will continue to get that maximum energy all winter long. Now, another thing you want to look at is the flood zones. If we learned anything from watching the mountains in Tennessee and North Carolina, we watched tragedy happen because of flash flooding. We watched people lose their lives. We watched people lose their homes. We watched them lose everything. And they weren't even in a flood zone. This was flash flooding at apocalyptic levels. So we learn from history, or we're doomed to repeat it. So when we're looking at this property, we're looking at the flood zones. And then we're looking beyond the flood zones. Okay, we're looking at areas where we are going to build our main compound. And is that compound even a little bit susceptible? Okay, we don't need to be overlooking our creek in the morning, having our morning coffee. We don't need that. We can go down to the creek if we want to, okay? We want a spot. It's just simply, it would be out of the realm of thinkable possibility. Everything is possible, but we want it out of the realm of reasonable possibility that it would flood. So that's where our dream building site would be. We have to look at the soil too, because the soil and the earth itself is going to hold our building potential. Ozark soil, it's famously rocky. It is famously thick with clay, and that impacts digging foundations, installing septic systems, doing all the things, tilling in your crops. You know, there are a lot of things that clay and that rock is going to impact. So you want to look at that. It's okay if part of your land is like that. It's probably gonna be. It's the Ozarks. But you definitely want some rich soil. And without that, the deal's off. We're unlimited on budget. We can go anywhere else. So our land has to have it. We have to have spots where we can put our fields. So we want flat ridge tops. We want fertile creek bottoms. That's going to offer a lot more productivity in our food sources than a steep timbered hillside. Do you really want to till a steep hillside or try to grow food on timbered land? No, it's just not going to work out that well. It's just not going to grow that well. So we definitely got to look at that too. So our dream land is definitely going to have those flat ridge tops. It's going to have those fertile creek bottoms. It's going to be everything we want. We're going to look at the legality of it. We are going to verify everything because our dream property, everything is verified, okay? Missouri counties feature loose to non-existent building codes. They are very friendly to alternative building. But you know what? I'm verifying it. I am going to get the best attorney that unlimited money can buy, and I'm going to have that attorney go to unlimited lengths to verify those codes. Now, I want that same attorney to verify easements and access, right? I mean, does it have year-round access via public roads? Does it have permanent easements? Am I going to be landlocked by a neighbor? No, because that wouldn't be my dream. And I would definitely hire him to make sure that that is not a possibility on my dream homestead. There's also going to be the professional title check. I don't want some hidden, sneaky little utility access right or a timber access or neighbor access rights. No, absolutely not. I want no one having access to my homestead but me and those I choose to have on it. My dream homestead has no access rights to anyone. I'd be making sure of that. So let's talk about size, because whether we like it or not, size matters. Excuse me while I take a sip. Okay. So for an absolute no budget, and let's call it a prepper's paradise, really homesteader, we're not apocalyptic here, we're going to focus on some long-term security. Yes, tactical security, okay? We have to do that too. And also self-sufficiency. So I think the optimal size for my dream property is going to be 200 plus acres. Let me explain why. So if I'm just having small livestock, say chickens and rabbits, hey, they physically require less than an acre to thrive. They're incredibly easy to care for and feed. They reproduce fairly quickly. They grow quickly. They serve as a food source. But true off-grid survivalism in the Ozarks relies on more than that. It's topographical isolation, resource security, tactical buffers. Okay, it's not just your agricultural footprint. There's a lot that goes into this dream piece of land. So let's break it down by the acreage allocation. So let's say the center of your property, you're going to be on your 1/2 to 2 acres. That's going to be your production core. That is high security perimeter. It will host, perhaps, if you wish it, your underground earth sheltered home. You will have fortified predator-proof enclosures for the rabbits and chickens, automated year-round greenhouses, solar arrays, high-yield raised garden beds. You're going to have these things right in that mid area, that 2 acres in the center, okay? So we're going to want to make sure that that piece of the property is perfect for that particular thing that we want. Then we move out a little, and we move out to that 40 to 100 acre area. And out past our production core is going to be our watershed, our topographical buffer. So in the Ozarks, you want to own the hillsides that flank the valley. You want to buy the entire private holler valley. A holler is a valley, okay? So those words are interchangeable. Now that does protect your water security, because by controlling the high surrounding ridges, you get to ensure that you're not going to get any runoff from future neighbors that might pollute your water. It all goes together. Now, if we move out even further, we move out to that 1 to 200 acre area. That's going to be our sustainable timber, our fuel reserve, because the Ozarks are known for having dense oak and hickory stands that they act as an endless fuel source. Wood burning stoves. Inside you could have a wood burning furnace outside that heats your home, your workshops, and whatever else you want it to heat. It creates a natural barrier. I mean, it shields your inner compound from the light of sight of any public roads, trail systems, anything of the sort. Okay, so it's a huge barrier, and that will protect your topographical buffer, which also protects your inner production core. So how we're doing kind of a tactical approach to the land. Now we get out to the 200 plus area. Now that area is specifically tactical standoff. It's that larger piece of the parcel that will push our property lines further out. It's a little too far for your standard anybody has one drone to do any visual surveillance on you. It's just out of their range of most of them, of the, kind of hobby drones. But it gives you control over your security perimeter as much as possible. And that tactical standoff distance ensures that you do have multi-layered defensive boundary. And in today's day and age, who doesn't want that? Especially on their homestead. I mean, imagine not having a defensive boundary. I can't even imagine a property without that. And without limits on our budget, please, we're getting the property, right? But remember, I talked a minute ago about buying the entire holler. And okay, valley. Keep forgetting, there's people from everywhere. So with no restrictions on finances, we cannot target just raw acreage. Okay? We want a complete, self-contained Ozark Valley. There's a reason. When a property covers both side ridges and the entire valley floor, you gain advantage. Okay? You've got gravity-fed water infrastructure. You can actually tap a spring high up on the ridgeline and run it completely unpowered, gravity-fed filtration line directly down to your compound and to your animals. You can run it to your fields. And there's so many things you can do, and it's all unpowered. It's not biting into your power source. You have visual advantage. Your entire living and farming footprint is all going to be naturally hidden by literally thousands of tons of earth and rock. It's nearly invisible from the outside world. You kind of have to fly over it or trespass. And believe me, in Missouri, you'll want to trespass. You will have protection from the elements. Okay, that deep valley structure cuts down on those high winds and tornado risks. Because remember, this is Tornado Alley. So we want to protect ourselves from it, which is why I did mention the underground homes. But you want protection from that as much as possible. So your underground home is going to have entrances. Guess what? You're not going to put glass anywhere. You're going to use Lexan. I mean, it's just different things like that. But this wind protection also protects that solar array. It protects your greenhouses, protects your livestock. So the dream property is going to have that because we're unlimited, right? Now, doing all this secures what is called like legacy property. It secures and it holds a future for your younger generations. Multi-hundred acre parcels. If you can find it where it has active cave networks, private springs, it's a complete valley, we're actively looking for that. And there are agents that specialize in land exactly like that. And a lot of that land is unlisted, but absolutely for sale. Do your research, find the agents. Okay? I can't do that for you. But that's if you're unlimited. Remember, we are dreaming this homestead. Okay? Dreaming it up. This property is ours as we go. As we do this, everything that we've wanted is ours. Now, we've discovered what we want in the land. And since we're dreaming it up, we have it. And now that we have it, we have to concern ourselves with our water sources. No matter how abundant it is, we want it clean. We want it at the ready. Remember, I talked about those live water sources. Okay, you want those. You also want your wells. You want your springs up in the ridges. You want all the things. And since we're dreaming it, we have it. We want our water infrastructure to have backup and a backup for our backup. Okay, two is one and one is none. Okay, that's how we're doing things. So in the next episode, we are going to dream up our ultimate plan for water, because without it, the plans all fall apart at the speed of light. Because remember, we'll have our main source. Missouri is rich with water, but we want to secure even more backup. We want to secure the purification, and we want to have backups for our backups. If we choose well, we are golden. Besides that, we're no budget dreamers. We can have it all. So why not pick the best of the best? Which is exactly what we're going to do. So happy hunting, happy dreaming. Give yourself permission to dream. Look at the land and dream about it. Look at it with no budget in mind. Money is no issue at all. Dream your perfect homestead dream. Dream it with me. I'll dream it with you. We can share ideas. We can share knowledge. We can share opinions. Remember, everyone's different. So we're going to keep that in mind during discussion. I hope to see you next time. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye for now.